What's the reason you have been banned from an establishment such as a shop, restaurant, cafe, etc.? First comment says, I once got barred from a pub for burping. Stay tuned for this funny story with a stupid reason behind it. Welcome back to our Monday show of Redditainment, Ask Reddit Mondays. A lot of interesting posts on today's topic, so let's dive right into the first story. This user, Magic SPA, got barred from a pub for burping. And he says, no it was in the Conan Doyle pub in Edinburgh years ago. Our small group wasn't being disruptive or anything. My burp wasn't some intentional, obnoxious display behavior intended to unsettle other patrons. It was actually quite discreet and simply the result of drinking carbonated beverages, with nothing more to it than that. But we were sitting near the bar, the barman heard, and we all got thrown out. And for objecting to it, initially thinking it was a bad joke, I got full on barred. Like I say, it wasn't some over-the-top eruption of a belch. It was the same one you'd let loose in front of your own mother, followed by an excuse me. I thought at the time that the barman was being a neurotic, over-assertive bellend, and my own time as a barman in the years since has only served to reinforce that impression. I actually looked up this bar on Google, and to my surprise, they've got a ton of positive reviews. So maybe this was just one of their not-so-pleasant employees, or maybe this person just had a bad day at the time, but that does sound like a stupid reason to bar somebody from a bar. I mean, if you burp in a library, maybe, okay. But even then, give the person a warning, especially if they say it was unintentional. I mean, you can kind of see if it's intentional or not. But a bar? Come on, people drink a beer, they burp. It happens. Even if it was intentional, it's a bar. But let's move on to the next story. Next commenter says, got banned from the mall when I was younger because I wore an inappropriate shirt that I bought in the mall. I feel like we need more information here, but the irony that this person got banned from the same mall that they bought the shirt from, that's quite something. Here's another story from user Electric29. I am banned from a bar that a friend owns that I have played music in at a steep discount because they were my friends, donated to their fundraisers, got them lots of vintage glassware to use for free, promoted their events, even the ones with other musicians playing. Because his wife can't stand the fact that he and I dated briefly 35 years ago, she melts down whenever anything triggers her about it and makes his life miserable. I had no idea. Apparently they were dating 30 years ago and broke up because he broke a date with her to be the witness at my City Hall wedding. They got back together 15 years later. I found out about this when making a Facebook post about that anniversary, and he messaged me to take it down. He explained the crazy, I complied. I thought everything was fine. Then I get invited to the bar for a private party of theirs 6 months later, and both of them are being horrible to me. I am very confused. I asked him what the problem was, and he said, I don't like how we left things last December. And I'm thinking, we? I went back and checked the messages. It seems right after he sent me the explanation and before I responded apologizing for the triggering and saying I would comply, someone blocked me in his account. So I think she went in and turned it off so he couldn't see that I was cooperating. So he thought I blew him off. I sent emails, texts, and a certified letter with screenshots showing what happened, but he is still mad. So okay then. It is really sad as I love the place and love playing there, and it is a nexus of our social group, but now I cannot set foot in there. Wow, a lot to unpack here. Right off the bat, whoever the person is he's with now, batshit crazy. Several huge red flags there. So for the guy, I feel like just because his wife is crazy doesn't mean that he has to behave like that towards his friend. Especially since all these things happened 35 years ago. I mean, who holds a grudge that long? But then also on the other hand, this friend sent a certified letter to him showing him the screenshots of the text messages. I mean, that's really going above and beyond to try to prove that you did in fact try to cooperate. And by the way, you didn't have to cooperate. Why would you have to delete a post if somebody's wife is going crazy about it? Someone follows up and says, sucks to lose your local, but I would put miles between me and that friend and his wife anyway. She sounds like an absolute peach to be married to. Couldn't agree more. Definitely not somebody you want to be associated with. Another story here. When I was 12, my favorite thing to do was play laser tag at the one laser tag place in our town. I'd go every Friday night and play for 3 hours or so. There weren't many other regular players, so nobody else was getting better at it like I was. After about a year, I was just wrecking everyone, and the owner ended up banning me from the place because it was driving away customers. It really sucked because it was my favorite activity, and I was just immediately cut off from it. 6 years later, I found a place in another city that had other players that played regularly, so I was able to start playing again with people at similar skill levels. It sounds like this person was Barney Stinson. But as far as the owner is concerned, that is a really petty reason to ban somebody, instead of using it as an opportunity to create leagues or tournaments so this person can actually compete with somebody at a similar skill level. Someone else says, feeding the seagulls. We ruined an entire upper decks dining experience with a few French fries. Dozens, maybe hundreds swarmed. It was like a scene from The Birds. People had to evacuate. As funny as that is, they have "don't feed wild animal" signs everywhere for a reason. Someone follows up and says, they're vicious. We went to see baby sea turtles released into the ocean, and the number one rule was no food at all. Number 2 was do not wave your hands in the air to attract seagulls' attention. Apparently, baby sea turtles are the Oreo cookies of the ocean until they get about a year old. There were nets covering the path to the sea and volunteers with extra coverage to protect them from the hungry sky hippos. Well, let's hope those Oreo cookies of the ocean survived the trip. Let's do the last story of today, which comes from this user here. I got banned from Walmart probably 22 years ago for grabbing one of the microphones and broadcasting over the store that it was closing in 10 minutes and the dogs will be released shortly after. The security guard told me that it was hilarious, but I'm not welcome back, LOL. I mean, it does sound like a funny, harmless prank. What's the worst that can happen? A couple of customers will be looking around very confused, but all in all, it didn't hurt anybody. Have you guys ever been banned from a store or a bar or restaurant? What is the story? Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this episode of Ask Reddit Mondays. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.